Hey, retirees, welcome to Retired for Nature. Today we're going to talk about retiring for birds, for native birds, for native species birds. Uh, this is a birdhouse for a little bird called a tree swallow. Okay, so this is a native bird, beautiful little thing, purplish blue back, white belly. It's an aerial insectivore, which means it eats flying insects, little dragonflies, mosquitoes, moths, little butterflies, anything that flies. It's an important bird for the environment for sure, especially for people. It gets rid of a lot of pests. That being said, it's in trouble. Like most of our birds, the population has declined. And one of the main reasons it's declined is that it's a cavity nester. That means it breeds in things like a natural birdhouse, like a hole in a tree, an old woodpecker nest that's been abandoned. And there are a lot of cavity nesters, there's little house finches and chickadees and, of course, all the woodpeckers, other birds that nest in cavities. But the problem is there's not enough cavities to go around anymore because here in the suburbs, when a tree dies, we cut it down. So, prior to us being here, when a tree died, it just stood there and woodpecker make a nest in it, nest in it 1 year, and they don't usually nest another year in it. Okay, so we need to supply nesting sites for these birds. And I'll give you a little background how I got involved with this. So maybe 15 years ago, this park was remediated. It was a garbage dump at one time. And they capped it, they put fresh soil, they planted some trees. They did a good job, it's nice. Fortunately, a lot of invasive species have taken over, but that just happens everywhere in New Jersey. It's just really terrible. But somebody put up some birdhouses, some bluebird houses. I'm sure hoping that they would get some bluebirds. But we don't have bluebirds here anymore, unfortunately. Another species that's in decline, especially around the suburbs. We still have some in northwestern Bergen County, but we don't have any here. So nobody was maintaining these houses or taking care of them. So I just started doing it on my own. And I had a lot of house sparrows, but I had a few tree sparrows in them. So that was good. I didn't know anything. I really didn't. I didn't know anything about any of this. So one day I saw a tree swallow go in and I checked it out. And she had eggs and the nest was successful. And then another day, I saw her go in because the female tree swallow, unfortunately, doesn't get fed by the male. She has to go out several times a day and catch her own food. And they put a lot of feathers in their nest and they cover the eggs up to keep them warm. Very cool. And later in the season, when we have some nests, I will show you that. So she came back into the nest, and a house sparrow, a European house sparrow, which is an invasive species, not native, followed her into the nest. And a little while later, it came out, and I figured I better investigate. And I opened the box, and here her head had been smashed in, and all the eggs were broken. So I did a little search online, and I found out that this is what European house sparrows do. And it's not like they're terrible, mean birds. It's just that they want these nest sites for themselves. It's a survival technique. Unfortunately, our native birds don't know how to fight back well enough, and they kill tree swallows, they kill house wrens, chickadees, they'll kill purple martins. They're really terrible in that way. So long story short, after a few years, there were no successful tree swallow nests. 2016 and 17, I had no successful tree swallow nests. So 2018, they were looking for volunteers to help put up bluebird houses in western Bergen County, where there are some bluebirds, with the Bergen County Audubon Society, and I volunteered. And when I got there, I met this gentleman. His name was Richard. He happens to be the Society's bluebird expert. And I let him know about the issue I was having here. And this guy was so knowledgeable, even about tree swallows. It's incredible. But he said, well, first off, the bluebird houses are too small for the tree swallows, because the bluebird house, the interior and the floor is like 4 by 4, 4 by 3.5, like at the most 16 square inches, where it should be at least 25 square inches. And the reason being, bluebirds have 4 babies, and tree swallows have 5, 6, and last year I had a nest that had 7, and they all fledged successfully. So he said, you know, you need bigger houses. He said, I'm going to make you a couple. Like, I don't even know this guy. He made me 2 beautiful tree swallow houses, and he made this. You can't see because I have this covered. He made this slot entrance, and theoretically that discourages house sparrows, but doesn't discourage too many here, unfortunately. But I still like it because it's kind of oval shaped, and when the baby tree swallows are getting ready to fledge, you'll have 2 or 3 little heads sticking out, and it's very, very cute. So I make all my houses like that now. So long story short, I had no tree swallow babies for a couple of years. He gave me 2 houses. I put them up. I also learned, he gave me a website, treeswallows.com, and I'm going to put it somewhere in this video so you'll see it. You really, if you want to do houses for tree swallows, you really need to go there. Everything you could possibly want to know about tree swallows is there. Excellent website. It's old, but the information is still current. Very good. You can go to Cornell Labs, all about birds. It's a good place to look up tree swallows or any native bird. Audubon Society, of course. This ABC. There's a lot of them. So I learned how to discourage house sparrows to some extent, and I did that. And so 2018, I ended up with 2 nests, and I had 9 babies, which made me very, very happy. I can't even tell you. So over the course of the next several years, I learned more and more and more about tree swallows. I replaced all the boxes that were here with these boxes. These are called Golodrina boxes. I got the instructions for them on treeswallow.com. Bigger bottoms, very, very good success with babies. And so 2018, I had 9 babies. 2022, I had 173 babies. I have 40 some odd boxes up here now, and they all take a lot of maintenance, and it's a lot of work. It's work that I absolutely love, and I learn something all the time. I have learned so much about tree swallows. I didn't know anything about tree swallows before, and I've learned so much about them now, and it's worked my brain. So this is the whole point of my whole website. You know, I want you to get out. I want you to do some physical labor. I want you to get fresh air and breathe in the fresh air and relieve your mind of all this stress that we have now. And I also want you to learn stuff. You know, research says as long as we keep learning new things, it'll keep us from cognitive decline. So that's why this is so important. It's important for the planet. It's important for the tree swallows that are in decline, but it's important for us as retirees. So, you know, we have a really good life for, you know, this last segment of it. So anyway, that being said, you know, you need to consider doing something for birds, something for nature, and something for yourself, you know. So I am going to take a look in this one, clean it out. I cleaned them out in the spring, but what happens with this is kind of recent. It never was like this before. Most of the houses get white-footed mice nests in them now. And in September, maybe early October, if I look at them, they have little babies in them, and I leave them alone. They're a native mammal. We had red-shouldered hawk here all winter long, feeding on them. You know, we have owls here, so they're an important part of the natural environment, and they keep some of our other animals alive. And they're good. They, you know, they dig around, they aerate the soil, they do good things. By this time, they're pretty much gone. Once in a while, 1 or 2 will hop out, but for the most part, they do. Also, I had the nest closed because this is like March 14th, I think. The tree swallows have been here since March 11th, a lot of them. And they do want to start investigating the nest boxes. I've never, ever had them here this early. Every year they're earlier and earlier, and that's the result of the warming climate, I'm 100% sure. The problem is if I open it too soon, this is the time that house sparrows are also looking for nesting areas. So the tree swallows, unfortunately, are going to have to wait until early April. And they're going to be pissed. They'll be sitting on the boxes, trying to move the tape. They really want to get in there. But if I open it too soon, I'm going to have a big problem with house sparrows. House sparrows are really difficult to get rid of once they make a nest in a box. So that's why it's closed. But okay, let's look inside, see what we see. Maybe nothing. Like I said, I did this in the fall and I emptied these all out, but nothing. You can see it was empty, so that's a good thing. And now they're ready. They're ready to go. Now you can't just put a tree swallow in your house in your backyard if you live in a, 100 by 100 lot. More than likely, you might get a tree swallow, but they like these larger open areas. They like to be fairly close to a water body. There's a lake right over there, because that's where there's a lot of insects. It's really fascinating though, and they're very tolerant. I mean, I keep this screwed because I get curious park goers even here in this remote kind of area, but they want to see what's in it, and if I just have a little clip on there, they'll be bothering them. And after a while, if they're your boxes, the birds get to know you, and some of them are accepting of you, and others will hate you for the rest of your life, but that's okay. So I go in and I check the boxes. It's important to know when they lay their eggs, because it's important to know when they hatch, because after about 12 days you do not want to disturb the box, because you might frighten the babies and they might jump out too early and land out in the field, and the parents won't feed them once they're down in the field, and then they'll just die. So we don't want that to happen. And try to catch one on the ground and forget about it. So that's it for now. There'll be another segment soon. This is March 14th. By May 14th, we'll have eggs and babies for sure, and we'll do a video, and I'll show you the nests. And very cool, beautiful little nest they make. Okay, so for now, hope you enjoyed this video. Hit like, subscribe, so that you know when I put up these other videos, and leave me comments. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know about your birds. You can put a wren house in your backyard, almost anywhere in the Northeast for sure. Probably most of the northern part of the country, and you'll get house wrens, and they are just the cutest thing, and they're really great to have in your yard. Just don't have, keep your cats indoors. I have 2 cats. I love my cats, but I don't let them outdoors because they would kill birds, and they're happy indoors, they're completely content. And they sit by the window and they watch the birds all day long, and that's good enough, So keep your cats indoors and put up a birdhouse and retire for nature. And I will see you soon. Thanks.